Hi everyone. I feel like I need to introduce this video because I filmed this a year ago and basically I never uploaded it because the audio was so bad. But I've kind of fixed it because most of the video I'm not even talking in it anyway. I assumed I was going to include a voiceover. So I managed to fix the audio that I am talking in. And I thought, it's a cute video. I haven't actually made a video in a really long time because just my living situation is kind of awkward to make videos. I won't go any deeper than that. Nothing serious, but yeah, it's just hard to like find quiet and peace to do it, basically. But I was like, I can upload one of my old ones. I've got a few in the archive, and this is one of them. Funnily enough, someone bought the painting in this video, so shout out to that person. But yeah, so the voiceover will be me right now. But I just thought I should mention what, because people will click on it and be like, I'm pretty sure that was you like a year ago. So yeah, enjoy the video. It's alright, darling. My dog's scared of my tripod and also the painting easel, so she's having a hard time right now. Hi YouTube, welcome to this video. Once again, different location. New location is unlocked. I'm in my living room because this is where I paint. I used to paint my kitchen, but it's so dingy in there that it genuinely makes me depressed. So now I paint in the corner of my living room. It's just nicer in here. My setup, as you can see, I've got just a little table with all my paints, and then this is my easel. So because I haven't painted in I think I haven't painted in like a month. It hasn't been that long, but long enough. I've just went through like some of my old sketchbooks because I don't really know what to paint. I'm not trying to paint like a realistic portrait right now, so I've just stumbled upon this drawing. This little devil man. He's holding some flowers. Probably won't include the flowers because we've got a very small canvas today. But yeah, I think I'm going to paint this guy. So this is what I'm working with. So I'm starting very little because I would like to finish the painting in this video. I don't want to have to come back like tomorrow and film. I wanted this to be a quick painting anyway. So I've basically taken some blue acrylic paint for the background for this. Little tip if you'd like it, if you've got a board or a canvas, better to put something down. Usually you get I forget what you call it now because I haven't actually used it in so long, but it's just a big huge white tub of essentially background paint. It just stops the oil paint kind of soaking in over the years and then like helps with longevity basically. I used to just use white and then paint, but I remember my tutors would shout at me even though they all sucked anyway, but they used to say my art looked like painted by numbers because I wouldn't use a background like this, so I've been bullied into it. So you don't have to use a coloured one, you could use white. So basically I've used blue because I'm going to be using a lot of reds, whites and blacks in this, and blue's nice for a lot of, if you've got skin tone like me, very pale, a lot of your undertones sometimes are blue. You might not realise that until you like paint a lot. So this helps just with underpaintings. The blue can shine through the white and it looks quite ghoulish, and this little devil man that I'm drawing is quite ghoulish. I've got these little canvases off Amazon. Pretty sure it was like a tenner for 5, super cheap. Also, a little life hack. This is one of the paintings I did. This is the last painting I did. Obviously not finished. Don't ask me why it's not finished. I have no answer for you. I never finish any paintings, but yeah, this one's quite a nice painting. Got this canvas from TK Maxx, £3, and it's quite pretty big, look. I swear they never used to do that. They might have done it, I just didn't know, or my TK Maxx didn't do it. But like, look, this one £5, it's like a round canvas. Freaking bargain. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You don't need expensive canvases. Okay, so if you're familiar with oil painting, the brand I'm going to be using is mainly Georgian. Is that what it's called? No, Daler and Rowney. This is pretty cheap oil paint. It's like the traditional that everybody has. Another thing, if you're on a budget and you want oil paint, you do not need expensive oil paints. There is a slight difference. Expensive oil paints do make a little bit of a difference, but if you're a good painter and you're using cheap oil paints, it's still going to be a good painting. Again, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I primarily use this brand because this is my, I think, most expensive oil paint, and it was definitely like over £15. and it is super pigmented. And this is also an expensive one. This is like I use this a lot for skin tone. Sorry, some guy is cleaning the street outside. This happened to me one time when I was filming the video. Some guy was just with a leaf blower the whole time. This brand, what is it? Michael Harding. He's famous, I think. Good brand as well. But I'm primarily going to be using this. And I just take my little palette and just basically put down every colour I'm going to use. I try and use as little paint as possible because I tend to waste a lot of paint. But yeah. Another thing that I'm going to add, I use this a lot, is liquid. It helps to, you can do this with like white spirit and stuff, but I just like this a little bit oilier. It's just helps the drying process a little bit, but I also like it because it's like thins out paint. So if you want a less pigmented, or you want to kind of layer it on top of something, this is good for that. Thanks to my dad for showing me liquid. No one else I know uses this. So I just opened this with my teeth because it always dried up, but I could never get the lid open. It was child locks, and it genuinely worked on me like I was a massive toddler. I could never get open, so I just took a screwdriver underneath and popped it open. Not recommended, probably really dangerous, but worked. So if you struggle with that, there you go. Okay, it is me from the future doing the voiceover, and as you can see, I outlined with some like white oil paint, I'm assuming. Honestly, guys, I filmed this a year ago, so bear with me. I wasn't 100% sure what I was doing, but usually I outline with a pencil because you can be a bit more precise, but I was kind of winging this. I was kind of going through like off my imagination, if that makes sense, so I just used oil paint. But if you want a more precise, like if you're doing a portrait, a realistic portrait, I'd recommend like doing the outline in coloured pencil. Sorry guys, the road outside my window is so freaking loud, but yeah. As you can see, I'm filling in like a base colour for the skin tone. I'm going very pale, obviously, because I'm painting a ghoulish goblin type creature. But again, if you were painting a normal person, you would maybe go in with whatever undertones they might have, or a general base. I like to do a general base. Other people do it almost like they build it up, so they start with the eye and do all the details in the eye, then move on. But I kind of do everything in one swoop, if that makes sense. I do the eye separately, but like skin tone, like as you can see, I'm kind of just doing it all at once. If the painting was a bit bigger, I'd probably kind of work on one section at a time, but because it's little, I'm just doing like it all in one go. And as you can see here, I actually start light. Most oil painters start dark, I think. They go in with the darks and then they build up to the light, but this is just how my brain works. I think the way to go is start dark. That's what every tutorial ever says, but this works for me. I prefer to do it like this. And also, I'm not using really thick oil paint, so this is kind of like not watered down, but I use liquid to kind of thin it out a bit. So it's not as hard to work with as if I just went in with a thick slab of like white oil paint, if that makes sense. Because then I can kind of blend it all together. If it was thick, it would really struggle to blend. Okay, this is me very poorly showing you that I'm using a new brush. So now I'm starting to go in with some detail. As you can see, it's not nearly finished enough to start going in with detail, but this is just, again, how my mind works, and it kind of, it makes sense to me to kind of see the finished result in my head when I do this. Does that make any sense? Like, I like to just do little details at the start of the painting because it helps me just understand what to do. That makes no sense. I'm like hearing myself in real time and I'm like, this makes no sense. But yeah, I basically just use that small paintbrush to kind of map out the details, and then I can work around them. As you can see here, you can see me like using some lights to kind of make the face pop, and it becomes, you can see them becoming a bit more, I was going to say human, but I wouldn't use the word human. Okay, this is my secret weapon, this paintbrush. I will try and find the one that I use and link it down below, because oh my god, when I found this paintbrush, it low-key changed my life. Like, I think I found this like first year of art school, and I've just used it ever since. You get different types, but I've only been able to find like the one, which is this one. But it basically just blends. Is this a thing that most painters know? Like, blending brush? Like, I think I'm acting like I've got a secret weapon, but it's literally just a blending brush. But it creates that kind of dreamy effect that my paintings have that I really like. And as you can see, when I blended all that out, it just created such like a, it just made such a difference, do you know what I mean? But obviously if you're someone who enjoys to paint in more deliberate strokes, if that makes sense, like you want it to look like an oil painting, then ignore this step, because then that takes away the painterly look, if you get me. Like, the blending brush would be good if you're doing like, you know, like Renaissance paintings, how they're kind of like blurry and like angelic. It kind of gives that effect. So if you want actually a more purposeful oil painterly look, like, you know, like a Van Gogh, not as extreme, but you know what I mean, then
ignore the blending brushes. You don't need blending brushes. You could literally do a whole oil paint with like 2 brushes, to be honest. But yeah, it makes a big difference for my... Sorry about the dogs barking in that last clip. This is why I can't film YouTube videos. Hopefully I'll be moving soon though. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, the detail. As you can see, when I go in with the details here, I don't use full black because I do that right at the end, because once you add black paint to a painting, it starts to become very muddy if it's, you know, mixed in, that is. So you want to leave the darks. See, I want to leave the dark to the last. Okay, I just eat my own words because I just added black here, but you want to, in my opinion, leave dark colours to last, whereas some painters do them first. But as you can see, I think I just wanted to get the eyes done here. But yeah, the nice thing about oil painting is, as you can see, I'm like changing things around as I go, and it doesn't like ruin the whole pit. I'll quickly talk about this as well, because canvases, yeah, I've never loved a canvas. I actually much prefer wooden boards, because the surface is nice and smooth. It depends again what kind of painting you want to do, but I've never loved canvases. It's just too rough. And you can see here I'm using a canvas board, so it's got a slightly less, you know, intense texture than like a normal canvas, if that makes sense. Sorry, the road is so loud. Whereas wooden board, so smooth, it's just harder to like frame. Like, I've done some wooden board paintings, you have to take them to like a professional framer and stuff, which is fine, but it's kind of annoying because if you didn't know, framing oil paintings, like this one, I got this one framed and it was, I think, about £20 to £30. Not too bad, but not exactly cheap either, do you know what I mean? But yeah, back to the painting. You can see here I'm going in with the smaller details now, going in with the little brush, then going back in with the fluffy brush to blend it out, and then it's like a repeat, because sometimes when you blend out the little details with the big fluffy brush, they just kind of go away, so you have to do it again. But yeah, as you can see, what I just did there was add some highlights, and highlights are a big part of my painting, and I think they make it what it is. Does that make sense? Like, I rely heavily on the white highlights of my paintings to make the painting look good, in my opinion. And I think it can really bring a painting to life how you do your highlights. And one tip I would have that I still continue to forget and then relearn is the highlights in the eyes. If you're doing something from your imagination like I'm doing here, the highlights should be tiny. Don't make a big white highlight in the eye, because that's not very realistic. I mean, it can be, depends if you're, you know, copying from a photo, but I've found like the tiny little highlights in the eyes make it almost come to life more. Does that make any sense? But yeah, and also, unless you're doing like anime style, one singular tiny white dot in the eye is enough. Like, doing loads of tiny little ones kind of takes away from the weird creepy realism of my paintings, I think. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I've been drawing a little bit recently, and I keep having to remind myself, like, don't put like 3 white highlights in the eye, one's enough. Sorry guys, I realise I'm I'm doing a lot of yapping and I'm not really saying much, which I'm very good at, just talking and not saying anything at all. But I'm just in a stream of consciousness right now because I don't really know what was going through my head. Oh wait, I've got something to say. So I'm watching it like in real time. That is another tip I have. The kind of bags under the eyes, if you're doing a portrait, just putting a little bit of blue under the eyes makes such a difference. Because if you look under your eye, I mean, you might not have bags under your eyes, but I know I do. They're usually purpley, bluey, grey, and adding that creates instant realism to a painting, just like some blue, even if you're like doing a really pink toned person. Okay, as you can see there, I'm adding the background in. Now, this is something that I do, and I don't think I'll ever stop doing, is doing the background way too early. Like, this should be last, but I do it anyway because I think I just want to see how it's going to look when it's finished before it's finished. Does that make sense? But I kind of need the background in because I like to blend around the line, so around the shoulders, around the head. I like to kind of blend it out with that fluffy brush, so it creates that kind of like hazy dream look. But that's kind of hard because oil paint, black oil paint and white oil paint, when they mix, it can be very messy, so you have to be very gentle when you do that. Yeah, I've said something similar to this, I think, but like you see in this video, I use, I think, 3 brushes in total. So one kind of square flat brush, you can see I'm using here to fill in the background, one fluffy brush and one little detail brush, and that's all I used. Again, just proves you don't need all the fancy equipment and fancy paint to be a good artist, you know? Well, not that I'm saying I'm a good artist, because this was, yeah, I don't know. I really like this painting actually. I remember at the time I was a bit like, oh, whatever. And then as like time went on, it grew on me, which is like a lot of things do in my life. Like my hairstyles, I look back at them and I'm like, oh, that's actually quite nice, and I hated it at the time. Same with my art, but yeah, this was a quick study. I think this maybe took me, I want to say 2 hours, maybe even an hour, maybe 3 hours. I don't remember. It was a year ago, okay. But yeah, I like to do quick studies. There is a name for that where you do a painting in one sitting, and I've always been like that. I don't love coming back to a painting. Maybe it's my attention span or something, but I've just never. Also, can we talk about the fact that I look like the guy from Squid Game with his haircut? I don't even remember having this haircut. This red hair. It's kind of cool though. I kind of like it. Anyway, yeah, I don't love working on a painting for like months. I don't think I will ever in my lifetime be like that. I hope I do one time, because you never know. I could create something really cool if I actually put a lot of time in, just time. But alas, I've never been like that with anything in my life. Finished result. And shout out to the person that bought this little goblin man. I hope you liked the video. I thought this would come out cuter. It just came out in a slightly horrifying way. I hope you liked the video anyway. Really short oil painting study. I'll probably put it up for sale. Okay, I hope you liked it. I'll maybe do some more painting videos in the future. Goodbye. Bye bye.